Every time the flying kipper was done, there was confusion and delay. Every time it happened with Henry. One evening, the train was due on the other side of Silverwood. People were loading the van with fish and maintenance. Unfortunately, Henry couldn't take the train because he was at the works to be mended. Sir Topham had understood this and went to Titmouth's sheds at once. All of the engines were at the sheds except for Henry. Sir Topham Hatt stood on the turntable.
As you all may know,
He said,
Henry is on the works to be mended. I need an engine to pull the flying kipper tonight.
the little engines and looked away. They had had their own consequences with fish once. Doc had had an accident while shunting the flying kipper with Henry. Thomas had gotten fish in his boat. Percy had his own experience of fish by passing a danger sign. And Gordon didn't want to pull the train because he was an express engine. He thought it would be dignifying to pull a fish train. So Sir Topham Hatt chose James. James didn't like this at all. In fact, he was cross. He refused to come out of his shed. His driver and fireman argued with him, but it was no good. "Don't worry," said the driver. "We'll try and get the job over with. You'll be happy soon." "Why does Sir Topham Hatt want me to pull the train?" said James. "I'm too splendid." James arrived at Brendan after a long trip. He was coupled to the train. James had to impatiently wait because the forklift was busy loading the fish. This made James crosser still. One of the forklifts was losing control, and then it bit into a crate. The forklift had spilled fish all over the tracks. James was surprised. "Well," he said, "looks like everything's not going according to plan," he argued to his driver. "Let's just go back to Titmouth and rest." "No," said the driver. "Your job's not done yet. You have to pull the train." So James pulled the train. There was trouble. The fish on those tracks made it real slippery. He just went back and forth and back and forth. And then he stopped. The dockyard manager called for an engine to pull James out of the smelly fish on the tracks. Sophie had to pull James out of the fish and onto the main line. After that, James down the line. He really wasn't pleased with this at all. Next day, James helped him to Kipper. He was happy that the job was done. But when the engines heard about the fish incident at the docks, they laughed and boasted. "Look, it's James the Slippy Fish engine," teased Thomas. Laughed Gordon. "What a joke!" James felt very embarrassed and said nothing. When Sir Topham had heard the news, he had decided to cancel the flying kipper forever and instead open up a fishing route to make the job more easier. When Henry came back next day, he felt much better and was pleased that the flying kipper was done and over with. "You really did manage to pull the train after all," said Henry. "This train was delayed all because we made mistakes." "I have to agree with you on that," boasted James. But the engines still teased them, but the two friends just smiled happily.